Jenny is from Scottish Lesbians, and she is going to tell us about a new survey establishing campaigning goals for lesbians in Scotland. Thank you so much, Jenny, and over to you.
As most of you probably know, Scottish Lesbians, along with the Lesbian Project and LGB Alliance, was an intervener in the For Women Scotland case at the Supreme Court, highlighting the impact on lesbians of men basically being able to get a certificate saying they're women. We're awaiting the judgment. We should hear in the next few months, and that will let us know whether we can legally exclude men who have a gender recognition certificate from lesbian groups and spaces. And we know that lesbians in different countries are affected by similar legal situations. We've all been watching each other's court cases. And I'm sure that everyone here is aware of the recent ruling against the Lesbian Action Group in the High Court in Australia. And we're all hoping for breakthroughs so that we can start to rebuild lesbian culture and have hope for the future. And as part of that, we want to be able to show politicians, legislators, that we have consulted with lesbians, that we are representing accurately the things that are important to lesbians, that lesbians have told us about. We all have anecdotes, we all know kind of the common sense approach, but we're talking about the law here. So we want something, a bit more evidence to be able to take to politicians. And we published our first piece of research in 2023. And that was a qualitative study in which we asked lesbians to tell us about their coming out experiences and some wider things as well. And the themes that came out of that study that we identified within the responses we got included things like porn culture, lack of lesbian role models, lack of lesbian culture, and of course, the impact of gender ideology. So this is the piece of research that we published in 2023. We called it This Is Who I Am. So if you want a copy of that research, it's available from our website, scottishlesbians.org.uk. And we're now doing some quantitative research. We want to get some stats, basically, with the aim of gauging what lesbians feel are the most pressing issues for us, and getting some priorities for moving forward with campaigning. We want to hear from as many lesbians as possible so that we can really feel that we're representing lesbian voices in our meetings with politicians, in all our activities. And we are planning to make the results available to other groups if they would like them. And we've linked it to our previous research by taking the themes that women previously identified and asking lesbians to prioritize them. So the format of these questions is that the issues are on the left, and there are more than that in the full survey, just 2 or 3 more. And the survey asks you to say to what extent each one is affecting lesbians. Not at all, to some extent, or to a great extent. So, for example, pressure to identify as something other than a lesbian. Do you agree that that is an issue for lesbians? What about the loss of lesbian-only single-sex spaces, isolation, porn culture? These are all things that directly came out of our initial research. And the next question following on from that, this question is about which issues lesbians would prioritise for future campaigns. We're asking women to choose at least one. Some women have ticked all of them, which is fair enough. But you can choose any number, any ones that you feel are important to you. And after that, we ask women to choose their top priority for campaigning. What's the single biggest thing that they would like to see in a lesbian campaign? It might be one of these issues, but it could be anything at all. And actually, we've already had women choosing things that we hadn't listed, you know, something that was completely important to them, but that we hadn't thought of. So that's brilliant. The survey is available to lesbians in any country. We've already had a great spread of responses from around the world and from women of all ages, which is absolutely fab. So this slide is a bit of a preview of where the responses have come from. Obviously, the survey is still open. We're hoping to get plenty more responses, but this gives you some idea of where we're getting the responses from. Around half are from the UK, but we're also getting a good number from Australia and New Zealand, not surprisingly, and from North America as well. So how do you take part? The link is on our website, scottishlesbians.org.uk. There's a button right near the top of the website that takes you directly into the form. It's a Google form, so it should be pretty straightforward to complete. And I should say at this point, it's completely anonymous. We don't ask for any identifying details other than age and roughly where you are. So we're not going to be able to identify anyone from that. And that's the whole point. We don't want to be able to identify anyone. Having said that, we have put a space at the bottom where if you would like to receive a copy of the report when we produce it, you can give us your email address. But that is entirely optional. We will, of course, make the findings public as soon as we've done the report. So we're hoping to use quotes from women in the final report. We've given women space to tell us more if they would like to. And one observation that we could make so far is that if you give women space to use their own words, they tend to use that space and be very, very generous with their time and their thoughts. We've had some very full and very moving text from women telling us what's important to them and what issues are having an impact on them as lesbians right now. We didn't, I don't think, include anything about religion in there, but I think there are some lesbians out there for whom that's a real problem. The approach of their religion or the attitudes within their religion, there could be all sorts of issues there. And of course, whatever women tell us, we will, of course, reflect as much of that as we can in the final report. And we'd like very much to thank the women who've taken part so far. We're well on the way to 300 respondents now, which is brilliant. So if any lesbians listening now would like to give us 5 minutes of, or a bit more, of their time to complete the form, we'd be really grateful. When we presented our previous research to WDI, we got a fantastic response, loads of interest. So please, if you're able to, please do fill the form in and share it with any other lesbians that you know as well, just lesbians. We know that other women have lots of opinions that they want to share, but we're looking specifically for lesbians. I can see somebody's asked there how long the survey's open for. To be honest, at the moment we haven't put a time limit on it, but it won't be all year. It might be another month or so, something like that. And we will probably tweet out when we're going to close it.